千里之行，始于足下. A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Daodejing by Lao Zi. I would like to invite you to center your thoughts and direct your attention to this moment in time, to the here and now. To be fully present and mindfully aware as we all ready ourselves for this sacred process of the Tao. So govern the kingdom, 治国. This is what Lao Tzu was trying to say when he was speaking about the need to manage your life with the Tao. And everything that we talk about here, about society, about the kingdom, the country, it all applies to our personal lives. So there are two sides here, the yin and yang. There's attain the Tao, and then there's lose the Tao. So the Tao is ever present. We can't really lose it, but we can definitely lose sight of it by obscuring the Tao through our own blindness. Attain the Tao, well, it's always around, but we need to become one with the Tao. So what does that mean to attain the Tao? Well, the demons have no power. And now that you have seen the slide talking about the demons as representing the negative forces, you know what this is talking about. You know what this really means. It's talking about negative energies in your life losing their power over you. Then lose the Tao would be quite the opposite. The demons terrorize people, or in one's personal life, this would mean that your inner demons, your own inner demons, terrorize you in the sense that you are still suffering from the consequences of these inner demons being present. You cannot quite rid yourself of them, and you won't be able to do so unless you apply the Tao. Then, back to attain the Tao, the demons try but are unable to harm anyone. This is really making the point that, especially in the external world, we're never going to be completely eliminating the negative factors, the negative people, negative attitudes. They will always exist. Nothing we can do about that, but we can definitely protect ourselves so they do not become a harmful influence in our lives. If you were to lose the Tao, though, the demons cause much damage and chaos everywhere. This means the external critiques, the naysayers, the condemnation, the conflicts, the friction, and the internal fears and doubts, uncertainties, they cause anxiety for you. They cause suffering. Indeed, much of the suffering that we go through in life comes from exactly this, the quote-unquote demons, internally and externally. And let's go to the next one, switch from the negative to the positive. When you attain the Tao, sages and gods refrain from interference that can inadvertently harm people. They still have what they ought to do. For the gods, it is to symbolize goodness for people. For the sages, it is to teach. But both will not be harming people inadvertently through good intentions. If you lose the Tao, though, sages and gods help people with good intentions, but end up meddling in their affairs instead. In mythology, when we look at Greek mythology, etc., mythologies all around the world, we see many tales of the gods interfering in mortal affairs. So it's a common concept among mankind, regardless of cultural background, that there can be that kind of interference that does not originate from demonic forces, but instead from divine sources. Next, on the attain the Tao side, the results of attaining the Tao is that the people enjoy the peace and prosperity brought about by the Tao. For a kingdom, it means the kingdom is harmonious and prosperous. The people are happy. The ruler has an easy time governing the kingdom that is running so well. For you and I, on a personal level, it just means that everything in life goes well, that everything seems to be coming together. All the pieces of the puzzle kind of fall together, come together on their own, making your life very easy indeed. The opposite of that, I think we've all experienced ourselves in the context of the kingdom. The people suffer. There seems to be no hope at all. In personal life, we know that when we're beset with demons internally and externally, it's definitely time for suffering, and it definitely can seem hopeless. Fortunately, we're now following the path of the Tao, so there's hope. After all, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We can follow that light for liberation. So the ruler and the people, and you can see this matrix here. I think it's easy to understand. Each side has its place. Each side has its role. So that's what this chapter is really talking about. That's what the concluding section is talking about. So the ruler, what is the place for the ruler? Well, we know that especially the absolute rulers of antiquity, they are sitting on top of the hierarchy. They are monarchs. And they are supported by ministers and officials who administer the policies and laws of the land. So they are on top. And what about the people? Well, the people are spread throughout the foundation of the kingdom, of course. So intuitively, that is appealing. They enjoy and expect protection and stability provided from above. If the ruler is not able to protect and provide stability in society for the people will become rather unhappy. So what about the roles that the two sides play? For the ruler, it is to lead, to rule, of course, to serve as the most visible symbol of the country, to inspire the people, that's what it means to lead, to rally them to the common cause for the greater good of the kingdom. And then what about the role that the people must play? Well, they have to be productive. They have to do their part. They have to contribute to society, each in their own way, different vocations, different jobs, different tasks in different aspects of the economy. They are expected to be loyal to the kingdom, in exchange for protection, security, stability. They are expected to support its goals and aspirations, to build greater. So then what this slide is talking about is when each side is at peace in its place. And when each side plays its role in accordance with the Tao, harmony prevails. The Tao manifests in the kingdom, which just means the kingdom becomes prosperous and powerful. Now, this idea that each side has its place and its role to play, it applies in the other lines of this chapter as well, the lines that apply, that talk about the demons, the deities, the sages, and the people. So we can look at it that way. We can look at it not from the hierarchy of the kingdom level, but we can look at it from the realms, the different realms where different entities reside. Here, as you can see, we've got deities, sages, people, demons down the left-hand axis. Each group has its place. Each group has its role. So for deities live in the realm of the divine, what we might call heaven. So definitely in ancient Chinese mythology, that's a place in the clouds, similar to the mythologies of other cultures. What about the sages? They do not live in heaven. They can be living in heaven on earth if they run their lives properly. But mostly they live among people as part of the community. So this is where I once again want to make note that the stereotype of sages living away from civilization is just that, a stereotype. Actual sages are for the people, of the people, among the people. And the people themselves, well, of course, they live in the material world, the world in which we all live. This is the mortal realm. And the demons live in the netherworld, the realm of darkness. And if you want to call it hell or Hades, some other names for the underworld, that's okay too. These are all different labels for the same kind of concept. So each group has its place. So the idea is that they should stay in their place without intruding upon other places where they don't belong. And then each group has its role. For the deities, they have to serve as avatars for virtues of human aspiration. They stand for something, perhaps courage, perhaps compassion, different virtues that human beings can aspire to. What about sages? What's their job? Well, we know what the sages are supposed to do is to guide, assist, and nurture people, teach the Tao. And what about people? What about you and me? What are we supposed to do? Well, not just live, but thrive. Use the Tao to manage your life so that everything becomes easy, everything is good, everything is fun. To learn and advance spiritually. That's what we are all doing right now. And then the demons, well, they serve a function too. They're meant to provide warnings, to serve as counterexamples. And if you look at what the deities do, this is the opposite of that. So again, when each group is at peace in its place, does not infringe upon the other groups, and plays its role in accordance with the Tao, harmony prevails in existence, in reality. The Tao manifests in the world, not just the kingdom, but the world. The world becomes a better place for all, civilization flourishes, and there is a way for people to become enlightened. They are not suffering from warfare and chaos all the time. So then we always apply these ancient ideas to the modern world because these are metaphoric. These are meant to talk about some things in life. So we want to transport these ancient examples, ancient metaphors to the modern era, to our lives, to your life and my life. So I have a slide here that talks about that specifically, the modern application. Because what we want to do is to apply Lao Tzu's metaphors. We know that in life, we all have different roles in various settings. So it's not as simplistic as the ruler playing one role, the peasants, the subjects of the kingdom playing another role. we find that sometimes we have to lead, sometimes we have to follow different roles. So interactions with different people in our lives can happen at the workplace, at home, among friends, etc. So at the workplace, we have job duties. And everybody has different duties. We're all part of a team. We're meant to collaborate, come together as a team to achieve the aims of the organization. And what about at home? Well, at home, we've got different roles. We have duties in the family. We have roles in the family, and very common that you can have more than one role. In a multi-generational home, you can possibly be child to the oldest generation, but parent to the youngest generation, as an example. And to other members of the family, your connection with them can vary. There's a spouse, there's kids, of course, and then there's of course extended family and relatives. So you can tell already that these categories map to our changing roles in life. And it's because we understand the metaphors provided by Lao Tzu that we can apply them. Whether it's the workplace or home, and whether it's your job or parenting, spousal relationship, family duties, and one more. How about social situations? What is similar? With friends, we have social obligations. We don't think of them as job duties or duties in the family duties, but we do have social obligations. Hey, my buddy helped me move. Now he's going to move. I have to help him. Or we're all supposed to get together, the group of us, every week at a certain place. I have an obligation to all of my friends to show up. Various obligations. And in each role, if you apply the idea that we've been looking at, then you see exactly where Lao Tzu was going with that. The key, what if we want to have a harmonious life? What if we want to prosper in life? Well, then, first of all, know where you are. In the overall scheme of things, this is another way to say that there is a place for you. There is a place where you belong. Do you feel the belonging? Are you at peace in that place? If it is not the right place for you, are you moving to the better place, a place that is more suitable? So the place where one is one important key in the equation. What about the second part of the equation? Well, it's about knowing how to play your role. What is required? What are my duties with my family? What are the job duties that I have at work? Do I know what they are? Am I executing my duties to everyone's satisfaction? If so, then I am making a contribution to the family, to my social circle, or my workplace, the company that hired me. So then peace and harmony can prevail if you are able to occupy your place in peace and play your role properly. And not just you, but everyone around you. When everybody is able to do this, harmony prevails overall. Now, let me also say this. We've talked about this concept in ancient times and now in modern times. In ancient times, of course, we're talking ancient China, and therefore we have the mythology elements like demons and deities, the places they occupy, like the realm of the divine, the realm of darkness, etc. That's ancient China. Here we're talking about the modern world. I also want to make sure to mention that these ideas are not just ancient Chinese or Asian. This is actually common to humanity. So there's actually a Western expression for this as well. a Western expression that I want to share with you. There's something similar. It's a little bit simpler, but it's expressing the same concept. It's a Western expression here. In the 19th century, well-known poet Robert Browning of England composed the following. We're talking 19th century, quite some time ago. He wrote, "God's in his heaven, all's right with the world." This expression became very popular, and it's been used in the centuries since. So from the time of its formulation to now, occasionally you will still see people utilize this phrase. What does it mean? Well, it became popular because it means everything seems to be in perfect order. When everything is moving along just right, everything is in its place, you can say, wow, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Everything's in place. Everything is doing what it should. Now you see that this expression is very similar to what Lao Zi was trying to say. It's a feeling of comfort and reassurance from all things, all people being properly situated and aligned. They are at the place where they should be. They're doing the things they ought to be doing, and this applies to the self as well. I am exactly where I should be at this moment in time. I am doing exactly what I ought to be doing at this moment in time. And if you think about it right now, if you apply this concept to the here and now, all of us, this moment, we are exactly where we should be. We are doing exactly what we ought to be doing. So that is the reason why at this moment in time, the Tao is manifesting for us. There's harmony for all of us in this meeting. This is how we can flourish. We just need to apply this whole thing, this idea, to life itself and to our little corner of the world. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us all travel safely so we can meet again. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.